Wednesday to you.
Wild Hope Wednesday, we're back.
We are back, and as last week, we talked about how we were going to start a new series, and so our series, if you missed our last post, is about depression and anxiety, and today we want to start with just talking about noticing and being curious about what's going on with you. So
Yes. Thank you everyone so much for all of your questions too.
yeah.
We're going to kind of get to some of them today, and then it's a series, so we'll get to all of them eventually. But
Glad you brought that up.
yes.
Yeah. And if you have some, keep sending the questions and comments and what you want to hear about, because like Maureen just said, it's going to be a series, so we'll be back talking about this several times.
Yeah. So, I'll go ahead and dive in, and just thinking of what we kind of want to focus on today is identifying and noticing, and we'll each kind of share a couple of things that could be helpful in allowing you to explore those things for yourself. And so something that we have all used and many people have found helpful is kind of thinking and being intentional with where you're thinking too, making time for yourself to truly think of maybe that's quiet, uninterrupted, not with your kiddos around, just taking, and it can be quick, it can be a couple minutes if you have more time, with more intentional time to really think about that too. But also to think of what image comes to mind for you with the feelings that you're having, and kind of being curious with that and exploring that image that you have that comes to mind with that.
It's hard to talk specifically about one feeling or one symptom because we're trying to make this, general to everybody. But one thing that I've done with a lot of clients too is talked about, when you have that moment, and whether it's a quiet moment, an intentional moment, or whether it sort of, springs up out of the blue, and you're noticing something different in your body, a racing heart, sweaty palms, just kind of overwhelming sadness, to name a few. Obviously, there are so many different experiences that people have, but when you feel those feelings, I talk to people about, is there a certain place in your body where you feel it? And I'm always amazed how unique and individual that is. Just when I think I sort of have it that's in their gut, then they'll tell me that's in my fist, and I'm just amazed where people are able to identify that. And then we can go a little further if the person is willing, and if you're willing to think about, does that feeling in that part of your body, does it have a color that you identify with, that you can kind of see in your mind? And does it have a shape? And, those are, again, always so amazing to me how unique and individualized and personal those are for people. And I think that when we can start to figure out where that is in our body and where that's coming from, it's the first step to noticing when you want to intervene with something different, so that you don't keep following the same patterns and same behaviors that you have, leading you to an even darker or worse place.
Yeah, so one of the ways that, as Maureen and Jessica were talking about some great ways to start to be curious about what's going on, a practical implementation of that, or just another practical implementation of that, is meditation. So when I start working with clients, I try not to say push, but I kind of push meditation, because it's really important to spend time with yourself, and to be curious about what's going on inside. You don't have to, there's no being good at meditation. I think that is
Everyone sucks. No.
Everyone's terrible at meditation, especially in the beginning. I think we have this idea that meditation is sitting with a completely clear mind, but it's actually the opposite of that. I describe it as building this muscle of noticing, building this muscle of just observing thoughts and observing sensations in your body. And learning to react or not react to those sensations or thoughts that you're having, and using them perhaps as teachers or as ways to even inform your treatment with a therapist. So the most important, I think the hardest part about meditating is setting out the time to do it. It's you don't have to be good at it. Like, the goal is not a clear mind. Again, I don't know how much I can stress that, but
And
really,
Stevie, what if somebody doesn't have 30 minutes or an hour to dedicate to meditating?
right, you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for 5 minutes, and there's a bunch of different types of meditation also. So just because you tried it one time at the end of a yoga class and you hated every living second of it, doesn't mean that meditation isn't for you. So it's just it's a time that you set out for yourself to notice and tap into what's going on. And a lot of us avoid that because we avoid going inside because we don't know what we're gonna find.
Or
But
that's scary.
yeah, and that's scary. But if you're afraid of it, then that's also telling you something, right? And so know that obviously we're biased, but you don't have to deal with any of those things alone. And so if you're feeling super stuck on a feeling, and we're gonna continue again, like we said, continue this series about what does depression or anxiety look like. But if there are some feelings that you're having, whether somatic, so in your body, or thoughts that you're having that you really don't like, that doesn't have to be your story forever, and that doesn't mean that those things can't change. Yeah.
You being aware of them is the first step. So that's what we'd like to encourage you to work on in your life this week. And we're excited to bring back more information about depression and anxiety next Wednesday.
Yes. And feel free to share with us maybe some things you were able to notice or explore. We'd love to hear that. And you're welcome to put it here or just message us. We'd love to hear how that has changed your perspective of the feelings that you have.
Yeah. You can always get a hold of us via email through our website, wildhopekansascity.com.
Woo!
We will see
Happy
you
Wednesday.
soon.
Have a good one.